At this time, the people may call their next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people would call Elissa Fleak to the stand.
Please step up, please. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated. Please state your name for the record. Spell your first and last names.
Elissa Fleak, Elissa-Fleak.
Good afternoon, Ms. Fleak.
Good afternoon, Ms. Fleak.
Hello.
Where do you work?
At the LA County Coroner.
And how long have you worked with the LA County Coroner?
For 8 years.
And what is your position there?
I am a coroner investigator.
Okay, what is a coroner investigator?
A coroner investigator performs death investigations to help determine the cause of death and the mode of death, homicide, suicide, or accident, or natural.
Or what, I'm sorry?
Or natural.
Okay. And what are some of your responsibilities in fulfilling that role?
A coroner investigator performs scene investigations in which you would do we perform external body exams of the deceased at the scene. We collect evidence, medical evidence, secure the person's property, notify the family, identify the body, and then complete a report for the pathologist or for the doctors that work in our office to then perform an autopsy and determine cause of death.
Okay. So all these duties you've described are done with the goal of assisting the medical examiner in determining a cause of death?
Correct.
And how long have you been in this position as a coroner investigator?
For 8 years.
And were you working as a coroner investigator on June 25th, 2009?
Yes.
And on that day, did you learn through some means of the reported death of Michael Jackson, the decedent in this case?
Yes, I did.
And when you gained that information, did you respond to the UCLA Medical Center at 5:20 p.m. that day, June 25th, 2009?
Yes.
And what was your purpose in going to UCLA Medical Center on that day?
To examine the deceased and obtain information surrounding the circumstances of his death.
And when you arrived at UCLA at 5:20 p.m., did you have an opportunity to at least conduct a cursory examination of the decedent, Michael Jackson?
Yes, I did.
And where did that take place?
In one of the private emergency rooms, rooms in the emergency room at UCLA.
And at that time, did you document the physical condition of the decedent?
Yes, I did.
And through both notes and photographs?
Yes.
Right. You know, I have a photograph of Mr. Michael Jackson laying on a gurney. May this be marked Peoples 98 for identification.
Yes.
We will renew our objection to this photograph, Judge.
Ruled.
May we dim the lights momentarily?
Yes, please.
Ms. Fleak, looking at Peoples 98, is this a photograph you took of Mr. Jackson on June 25th in this private room you've described at UCLA?
Yes, it is.
And in your examination of Mr. Jackson at this preliminary stage, what were you looking for as it relates to cause of death?
Any sort of external wounds, anything that would indicate what his cause of death is, injuries, anything to signal a cause of death.
Okay. And upon your review of Mr. Jackson at this time, as reflected in Peoples 98, did you observe any signs of trauma or any obvious signs that would help you or the deputy medical examiner determine a cause of death?
No.
And to be fair, this is simply a representative photograph. However, there are additional photographs taken at this time?
Correct. That was the initial photograph, the very first photograph I took when I first walked into the room and saw him. But
Okay. And at that time, you observed the decedent in a clothed manner as depicted in People's 98, as well as in an unclothed manner?
yes,
Okay. And after making those observations, you concluded there was no obvious trauma or cause of death that you could ascertain?
right.
Okay.
Exhibit's been removed.
Now, while at UCLA, did you, in the company of Ed Winter, another coroner investigator, collect 4 vials of blood that were taken at the time of the emergency treatment at UCLA?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you collected the 4 vials of blood taken from the decedent bearing a particular patient identification number?
Yes,
Okay. And that was 3975944?
correct.
And you took custody of those 4 vials of blood and subsequently turned them in to the coroner's office?
Yes, I checked them into our laboratory.
Okay. And that was for purposes of future toxicology testing?
Yes,
Now, on June 25th, at about 7:10 p.m., did you go to the location of 100 North Carrollwood in Los Angeles County?
yes.
Okay. And what was the purpose of you going to 100 North Carrollwood?
To perform a scene investigation of where the person died.
And that person being Michael Jackson?
Yes,
And when you arrived at the location, is that what you did?
yes.
Okay. I want to show you a few photographs. Starting with some photographs that have already been moved into evidence. Equals 21 for identification. Do you recognize that as the bedroom, looking into the bedroom where the decedent died?
Yes,
Okay. And was this room the focus of your scene investigation when you went to the house on June 25th?
yes, it was.
And showing you People's 22 for identification. Do you recognize that as another view of the same room?
Yes,
And moving to People's 23. Do you recognize what is shown there, Ms. Fleak?
yes, that is the bed where he was reportedly found, and the chair and tables next to the bed.
Okay. Now, are you familiar with the general layout of the home as it relates to this room in particular and the kind of the immediate surrounding area?
Yes,
Okay. Showing you what was earlier marked People's 19 for identification. Do you recognize what is shown in this diagram? Can we dim the lights, Your Honor?
May we, please?
Do you see that, Ms. Fleak?
yes,
Okay, do you recognize what's shown there?
I do.
And looking at People's 19, do you recognize where I'm pointing here where it says second floor bedroom number 2? You recognize this white rectangular area as the bed that you had previously identified in the photographs?
Yes,
Okay. And there's a foyer coming into the bedroom, as well as a large closet on the diagram to the right of the bedroom, and then eventually leading into a bathroom. Is that accurate?
yes,
Okay. Looking at the diagram, there's also an additional bedroom to the left of the diagram, where I'm pointing on this diagram, simply showing the doorway, and an entry area into that bedroom. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on this day of June 25th, 2009, was your scene investigation focused on bedroom 2 that you've already identified, or this bedroom which would be to the left of People's 19?
Focused on bedroom 2.
Now, in your initial scene investigation of this room, did you locate on the floor a 20 milliliter bottle of propofol?
Yes, I did.
And where was that located?
On the floor next to the bed, the left side of the bed.
Do you see in People's 23 to the side of the decedent's bed there is a wood side table, and then appears to be a glass and metal table with a lamp on it in the photograph, which is to the left of the wood side table. Do you see that?
Yes.
And is it under this general area of this metal and glass table that I'm pointing out that has the lamp on it, under that is where you found the 20 milliliter propofol bottle?
Correct.
Showing you what I just said, marked People's 99 for identification. Does that, at the lower portion of People's 99, show what I described as a glass and metal table and show the 20 milliliter propofol bottle on the floor?
Yes.
Okay. And People's 100, again, is that simply a bit more of a close-up view of that same item?
Yes.
And lastly, People's 101, is that again a close-up of the same bottle being this smaller size 20 milliliter bottle of propofol?
Yes.
And let me ask you, Ms. Fleak, while we go through some of the evidence that was recovered, was this evidence initially recovered by you as a coroner's investigator? Because at that stage this was a death investigation by the coroner's office?
Correct.
Okay. And subsequently it was custody of these items was transferred to LAPD and booked into LAPD evidence and given LAPD evidence item numbers?
Right.
Okay. And have you had the opportunity to review the evidence item numbers to be able to make reference to both the LAPD evidence item number as well as the item that you recovered and took into coroner's custody?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And certainly at any time, if you need to refer to your notes, please let us know.
Okay.
I have here an LAPD evidence item number 140. And Ms. Fleak, I'm going to ask you, is this item, evidence item LAPD 140, the small propofol bottle that you recovered as reflected in People's 101 on the floor?
I do have to check my notes for the numbers.
Please.
Yes, it was 140.
Okay. And I have a 20 milliliter propofol bottle, concentration being 200 milligram per 20 milliliter. May this be marked People's 102 for identification?
It is marked, yes.
I'm placing a 102 on the label of this item. Ms. Fleak, showing you what is now People's 102. In your review of the notes and your review of what was recovered and compared to then what was booked with LAPD, this is the item then that was recovered from the floor?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And was it empty but for some drops of fluid as it is here today?
Correct.
Did you also recover an empty bottle of flumazenil in the same general area?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had an opportunity to review the evidence and determine the evidence item number and determine that that item was booked as LAPD evidence item 141?
Yes.
I'm cutting open bag bearing LAPD item number 141, Your Honor. Removing a 5 milliliter bottle of flumazenil. May this be marked 103 for identification?
Yes.
I'm placing a 103 on the label.